Greetings. Not all knowledge is taught in one school. That was written by a kahuna from the Big Island of Hawaii. I say not all knowledge is taught at school. I call that a Salism. Today I want to talk to you about fatigue and the underlying conditions that support it. You'll find fatigue in almost all diseases, and I want to explain to you why. I am Naturopathic Dr. Sal D'Onofrio. I'm not a medical doctor. Medical doctors treat disease. Naturopathic doctors, such as myself, teach people how to build health. We are teachers, health educators. My motto for over 30 years has been wellness through education. And this is what I would like to explain to you today are the conditions that are necessary to get sick. You can't grow corn on rocks. You have to have the right situations, the right medium. Your body chemistry has to be set askew a certain way before disease can happen. In a healthy, normal body, you don't get sick. Your body, your immune system just takes care of everything. So let's get into some of the reasons why. Well, first, let's understand what the term dis-ease or ill at ease means. It means the body is reacting to a deficiency of energy from either an excess or a deficiency of nutrients or an excess of toxins. Dr. Gary Martin, my teacher, tells us that when the body stops producing enough energy for homeostasis, for natural body functions, that's when the disease process begins. Now, most excesses and deficiencies are not usually terminal, but they will wear on you like water on a stone. But there's one deficiency that is always seen in all diseases, and that is the lack of oxygen. Particularly within the energy factory of the cells, it's called the mitochondria. This is like a furnace, the energy producer of each and every cell. These cells, if you will, if you look at your room around you as if it were you're in a cell and the roof and all around is the cell membrane. It's a fatty membrane. A good healthy cell has got lots and lots of essential fatty acids in it. If you look at the windows and the doors and the electrical outlets and everything else, they're like inlets for insulin and sugar and fats and proteins and oxygen, and outlets for toxins and poisons. So that's in a normal healthy cell. Look, a person could go 40 days without food as long as you have air and water. You can go about a week without water and about 2 or 3 minutes without oxygen. So the most important element that you put in your body is going to be oxygen. Now, in a normal cell, the oxygen comes in, goes to the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is like a assembly belt where it takes vitamins and minerals and adds to the fats and the proteins and the carbohydrates or takes away from them to form something called ATP. That's adenosine triphosphate, and that's what the body uses for energy. Now, oxygen is necessary for all of this. Now, we call this use of oxygen oxidative respiration. It's when the body is taking the oxygen in and using it to do all the functions in the cell to create ATP, to remove the byproducts of the production of ATP. And it's the normal way a cell breathes, just like we have to breathe. The cell has to breathe. When the cell loses its ability to respirate with oxygen, it switches over to fermentative respiration, where it starts fermenting sugar. Now, this happens causes like lactic acid buildup. Your muscles get sore if you work out too much. It's just a normal survival mechanism for a cell until there's enough oxygen in the cell. Then it switches back from fermentative respiration back to oxidative respiration. And that's just the way the normal healthy cells work. But when a cell continually loses its ability to respirate with oxygen, it begins to change its DNA. And in the pathways coming in, they start getting changed. It just creates like 16 to 32 more insulin receptor sites on an unhealthy cell because it needs more sugar. That's all it can live on. Healthy cells can handle fats and proteins and carbohydrates. An unhealthy cell cannot. It can only respirate, and it doesn't respirate. It does fermentative respiration. It starts fermenting sugars. So understand this, that mitosis is when a cell divides in half and stops. The thing that stops it, it's an oxygen-mediated pathway. When a cell becomes deficient in oxygen, because it's not getting it from the fatty membrane, the cell divides and then divides again, and then you have runaway division of the cell, and you get bunches of little unhealthy cells forming a little mass, also called a tumor. Now the word ONC, onc, means tumor. So an oncologist is somebody who studies and knows about tumors. But what causes them? That's probably the most important thing you need to understand. It's a deficiency in oxygen. Dr. Otto Warburg was hired by Hitler to determine what the cause was of the cancer on his lip. And Dr. Otto Warburg received a Nobel Prize for discovering that all cancer cells are low in oxygen. Consequently, you get extracellular mitosis and things build up. Unhealthy cells in the area start building up, creating other unhealthy cells as they put out the lactic acid and cause an acidic environment, which is low in oxygen. You understand that H2O, water, breaks down into H, which is a plus, is a positive ion, and OH is a negative ion. The positive H or excess hydrogen ions are acidic, acid forming, and the OH is alkalinizing. Now, when your blood gets too acidic, it cannot carry oxygen. The high oxygen content in your blood is when your pH is around 7.4, 7.35, 7.4. When it starts going below 7.35, we call it being more on acid blood. And the more acid the blood is, the less oxygen it can carry. The macronutrient minerals like calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium, those are the minerals that alkalinize the blood. And you will see them in abundance in fruits and vegetable soups and vegetable broths and things like that. All of the successful cancer programs that I've ever seen always have high amounts of vegetables in it, which are alkalinizing, and very low in, or no at all, acid forming foods like meats and starches and carbohydrates are the big acidifiers. So like no sugar, which is the worst carbohydrate, simple sugar. I mean, there are good sugars like honey and things like that, but the simple white refined sugar is part of what we call the white death. The cell membrane, which would be sort of like the roof and the walls, is a fatty membrane. It's full of essential fatty acids, which are very electrically greedy to start absorbing things like oxygen. And Dr. Joanna Budwig, medical doctor, found that the cancer cells and people who are sick were deficient in the essential fatty acids. And the cell membrane, instead of being a nice, juicy, thick membrane with lots of essential fatty acids attracting oxygen, was weak. And so you ended up with a cellular deficiency. The essential fatty acids EFA3 and EFA6 are the main essential fatty acids you want to have in your cell membrane so that they attract oxygen and then transport it down into the mitochondria so that it can breathe. Now, vitamin C, vitamin B3, vitamin B6, the minerals magnesium and zinc, if you're deficient in those particular nutrients, you will not be assimilating your essential fatty acids. And if you look at your red blood cells under a dark field microscope, you'll see that they're, instead of being nice and round and healthy and not sticking to one another, they'll be aberrant shaped and they'll clump up together because they'll have the wrong electrical charge on them. So just remember that low oxygen equals low energy. Low energy equals disease. We derive energy from digested foods. You are not what you ate, you are what you assimilate. And you need to be able to absorb these nutrients and get them to the cell membrane. The cell membrane will then transport it into the mitochondria, and it'll keep your energy up. So it's so important to know what your digestive efficiency is. Dr. Gary Martin tells you that when the cell stops producing enough energy for normal homeostasis, for normal health cell functioning, that's when the disease process starts. And you've got to do everything that you possibly can to get more oxygen into the cell membranes, and then from there into the mitochondria. So we do a modified Reams test here, and we also do dark field blood analysis here, and we can see if the nutrients are being absorbed by the cells. And we can find out why they're not. If you do a simple urine saliva test, you'll know the percentage of what you're eating is getting digested, what condition your pHs are. Are you too acid? Are you too alkaline? Are you inverted? This all will help me know why you're not absorbing your essential fatty acids. So you need to find out more about digestion. You can contact me at NATDR, the abbreviation for natural doctor, NATDR at healthguardians.com. Or you can call me at 310-376-2067, and I can explain this to you just a little bit further. You need to know what your digestive efficiency is, especially if you're feeling fatigued. There's a reason for it. And when you change your digestion and start assimilating the nutrients, your energy will pick up and you'll be able to have fun. You guys be well.